Welcome back to a new episode of Backpacking Food Basics by Backcountry Foodie. In today's episode, I thought I'd talk about hiking foods that work really well in cold weather. There's quite a few factors that go into meal planning for cold weather, but today I want to help you know how to choose specifically which foods work the best and which foods aren't so good. So if you're new to me and our channel, my name is Aaron Owens Mayhew. I'm an ultralight long-distance registered backpacking dietitian and the owner and founder of backcountryfoodie.com. And if you want to learn more about my street cred and my dietitian skills and those sorts of things, you can read all about that in the description below. So to get started, I have a full beer can here of different foods that I'd like to talk about today. One of the first things to think about when you're meal planning for your trips is fuel efficiency when you're cooking. I found that I like to use thin rice noodles over regular wheat pasta because wheat pasta takes quite a bit longer to cook. I mean, it's still pretty efficient. You can freezer bag cook it within a few minutes or so, but I found the thin rice noodles cook even faster. So when I'm trying to carry less fuel, these are an option that I like to use. In cold weather, tuna and chicken and salmon packets aren't always ideal because if it's going to freeze overnight, they freeze into a hard brick. It takes quite a while for them to thaw out again. So one thing that I've switched to and I really enjoy is actually dehydrated tofu. This is super easy to make at home. It rehydrates really easily. It takes on the flavor of the food. It's shelf stable. So this is one food that I really like to use as an additional protein source when tuna's not the best idea in freezing temperatures. Another food I like to use in cold weather, actually in all weather situations, is Parmesan cheese. It's an awesome way to add extra calories, some extra protein, some extra flavor to things, and it does really well in cold weather. I always just kind of carry one of these little containers with me and sprinkle it on just about anything. And then we all like a hot cup of cocoa in camp, but the trick with hot cocoa is to take something more than just one of the little packets. If you watch my channel, that I'm a huge believer in maximizing every bite of nutrition that you take in. So our dark chocolate cocoa actually has some freeze-dried raspberries in it, which rehydrate really well. I've powdered them, so just with hot water, stir it up a little bit, and you've got a really flavorful drink with whole milk powder in it too. So there's a lot of nutrition in this. There's a lot of extra protein. So just something to think about if you like cocoa in the morning. In the morning, if it's really cold and you just want to get started and not have to get your stove out, cold cereal actually works really well. Just some whole milk powder, some regular cold cereal you'd have at home. But I'd recommend using freeze-dried fruit, like I mentioned just before, because it rehydrates so much faster than dried fruit does. So it's going to be more efficient, faster. You can get out of camp faster. So like granola with freeze-dried berries works really well. Another one of my things I really love, especially at altitude when I lose my appetite, and a lot of you out there I'm sure have experienced this too, are meal replacement drinks. These also do really great because they don't freeze. They have tons of calories in them, tons of protein. This is actually one of my specialties. I think we have 15 or 16 recipes for these in our membership site. I like to carry these in my hip belt pocket. So when I'm hiking, I just pull it out, dump in some water, and I actually drink from this package. I just shake it up, drink it down the hatch, and I keep going. So I don't even have to take my gloves off, which is one of the things about cold weather hiking is having to stop, taking your gloves off, you start chilling, then you go through this freeze-thaw cycle, I guess you could say. You start getting really cold, you're shivering, then you actually burn more calories when you're shivering. So this is one of my ways of continuing to get nutrition in without having to stop. A favorite dessert of mine, it is actually really cold out here. We're in the Western Sierras this weekend, is pudding. Just instant pudding works really well. It actually sets up a lot better in cold weather than during the summer months. So during the summer, I'll try to put it in a creek, but this actually tastes really good when you can set it in some snow. Again, instead of just taking regular instant pudding, put some extra whole milk powder in it. This actually has vanilla wafers and freeze-dried bananas in it, so it tastes like banana pudding. It's really amazing. So that's another idea to get a nice treat in at the end of the day. This is another breakfast option, is freeze-dried yogurt is another one. It doesn't freeze. It's ready to go in the morning. It's freeze-dried yogurt, some freeze-dried berries, and some granola. Just add water, shake it up, it's ready to go. Super nutritious, lots of calories, doesn't freeze. Another one for when you do like to have that peanut butter pad thai that we all love, our peanut butter packets actually work pretty well. Even below freezing, they do get pretty tough. You have to massage it quite a bit, but they do stay soft enough to where you can squeeze it out. So I found that these work really well. They're also another good protein snack that you can just squeeze while you're walking to get some extra calories in. So I found that peanut butter, and this is actually sun butter, works really well. So that's another one to get some nutrition in. I really like chocolate covered coffee beans, work really well. And these are actually by Triple Crown Coffee. They're a big supporter of hikers, so I love their products. So this is another treat that I like to keep that is really good when it's cold. You've heard me probably talk about some of my favorite electrolyte snacks are plantain chips. These are my year-round chips that I love to go to because they're full of potassium, they're full of salt, they're high calorie because they're fried. So these are an all-around, or all year-round, I guess you could say, treat that are a snack that I really love, that does really well in cold weather. And really any kind of chips and crackers, those kinds of things do well, like these cornbread crisps are one of my favorite. Pretzels, and actually I didn't have hummus on me this weekend, but I love hummus for lunch because again, it doesn't freeze. Just add water, add some of the Parmesan cheese, some olive oil, and you've got a lunch that works really well in cold weather. And then another high protein snack that works really well are cheese whisks. They come in all kinds of flavors, so you can kind of change these up a little bit to get some extra protein in you. And then for the snacks that don't work well, and I've had a lot of bad experience with these, I love them in regular warmer temperatures. These are actually some honey stingers in here, or Stroopwafels. I love them in regular weather, but it's like a little above 40 right now, and these are hard as a rock. I mean, you can't eat them. Even if I kept these in my chest pocket or my pants pocket to stay warm, I've had really bad luck with these warming up, so I wouldn't take honey stingers, even though I love them normally. Anything Sour Patch Kids, licorice, those kind of things will turn into little bricks. They just don't work very well in cold, has been my experience. Unfortunately, Snickers bars don't work. I mean, it's like super hard right now. Especially if it's frozen overnight, you're not going to be able to eat this. So my way of having a Snickers-like snack is to have chocolate covered nuts. They're awesome. They taste just like a Snickers. They don't freeze. So that's kind of my substitution for the Snickers. One of the bars that works above freezing, but not below freezing, I found are Jojo Bars. Right now, it's still fairly pliable, but below freezing, these turn into a brick as well. So for the most part, I don't take a lot of bars when it's cold, especially Clip bars. I can eat those in warm weather, but they turn into these hard bricks when I'm hiking. And I already don't like to chew when I'm hiking because it's extra energy. I'm usually having to breathe hard because I'm climbing up a lot of elevation. So I like things that go down really easy. That's why I drink so much of my nutrition. So those are just a few things to keep in mind when choosing foods for your backpacking trips in the cold weather. There's actually so much more that goes into it. You need to think about your sex, your age, your body composition, how cold is it going to be, your sleep system. Believe it or not, there's actually some food related things that go along with your sleep system, what the altitude's going to be. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And if you want to learn about those kinds of things, I actually teach a masterclass. It's a virtual one, all about high altitude nutrition and cold weather nutrition. So if you'd be interested in taking a deeper dive, then you can look at the link below in the description and see when my next class is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy trails.